Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to PWR today, Monday morning. It's May 23rd, 2022. The man they call Meathead, the lovely Matthew Thomas. Oh,
Yes, yes. All the fine listeners have been without their Matthew Thomas fix for almost a full week, so no fear. I have pent up myself with plenty of Matthew Thomas isms and everything that Matthew Thomas is known for, just to absolutely enlighten my listeners with today.
I asked the listeners last week if they were okay with losing a little Matthew Thomas because they're going to get a whole money shot worth of Matthew Thomas this coming week.
No, absolutely. So it's. I think they're excited. So as well they should be, because this is going to be a week full of Matthew Thomas. It's kind of like you remember back in the '90s when Nick and Knight, they used to do these marathons each night of one show over and over.
What's funny?
Block
you know
party
what's funny is Nick at Night set the trend. A lot of networks do that now with shows. Yeah. I'll give you a perfect example. IFC, always on, a little bit off. That's their motto. They do like 6 to 7 hour blocks every different day of a show here or there. They might run 6 or 7 episodes or 6 or 7 hours of Three's Company, or Everybody Loves Raymond, or Scrubs, or Parks and Rec, or Third Rock from the Sun. They know what they're doing, because if you get a person that wants to watch that particular show, they'll leave that channel on for 6 to 7 hours, and then they can sell directly to them.
What's interesting and what really kind of has changed sitcom syndication is 25 years ago, like nobody really thought, at least I didn't think, in terms of sitcom seasons. You would have the info that would be the synopsis of the show, but I don't ever recall them listening what season or episode. But now, in the advent of first DVD and also streaming, and I think when they do most marathons now, it seems like they show them, in consecutive order of the way the season went. So just like to start off the show with something that has absolutely nothing. Well, it does have something to do with wrestling, because Monday Night Raw is the longest running
episodic. Yeah. And the only reason we know the word episodic, because Michael Cole won't stop yelling episodic.
Yeah, well, we're episodic.
We are episodic. And before we get into more of our episodic details, Matthew, what's the sponsor?
That's Collar and Elbow. They help keep our lights on and our audio and our microphones running so we can produce this show. And at least for me anyway, I don't know if it works for you, but Collar and Elbow, they cut a check to my electrical company every month and just send it directly there.
It's a direct deposit deal.
Yeah. I still kind of like to do things the old-fashioned way. But collarandelbowbrand.com, enter promo code LindaK, saves you 10%, and it helps keep the lights and the plumbing operations working around here.
Basically, you're saying Tom Bodette will keep the lights on for us.
I miss Tom Bodette.
I'm Tom Bodette, and I'll keep the light on for you.
I'll tell you what, man, you probably would have fared better in Dallas if you'd have stayed at that Motel 6.
Oh, man. Again, it was a 5-star hotel, 0.5. There was, I don't get into it. Let's talk about wrestling news. First off, Punk's tweet over the weekend, CM Punk that is, that read this: doesn't matter if your opinion of your coworker is positive or negative, stand with them, because they'll do the same thing to you and you'll wish somebody else helped. Trust me, you're expendable. Together, you're unstoppable. The Sasha and Naomi stuff has not left the news because we're talking about a company. And again, Matthew, I mentioned before off air about some of the things that this company does. And they will throw you under the bus. I mean, they threw Jeff Hardy under the bus. They threw friends of ours under the bus. I mean, look what they did to some of the others that didn't follow in their path. They threw Austin under the bus, and Austin made him the most money in the 90s, and then finally came back into the fold. I mean, they will throw you under the bus. I think it's a hit job, and there's others that came out. You guys have heard this comment, but I mean, here we're talking about how Sasha and Naomi had done this unprofessional thing, and you were naughty and wrong. But they've got a former WWE Hall of Famer who killed somebody.
Yeah, there's always going to be double standards there, and this is no exception. I think that down the road, I think that at some point, maybe sooner than people realize, they'll be back in the fold, and this will actually be used to further something along. But yeah, for right now, that's what's going on, especially after Cole's announcement on Smackdown on Friday. It's
not necessarily Cole. It could be. I mean, because he's in the booking meetings, but it's not necessarily Cole. Remember, Cole is just the voice of the machine.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, the same thing that the same position that Graves was in the other night.
Right.
This is, it's really, really, it's taken no time to simmer behind the scenes. It was called out as soon as it happened on Monday night and doubled down on Friday night as well.
Well, and the Monday night thing was they went ahead and they said that, here's our timeline. They put out a public statement because they wanted to make sure legally they thought they had, backed themselves up. Boy, they really altered that timeline to make their story look a lot better, didn't they? Because they said that it was, they said that they were uncomfortable working with people. That's not the case anymore. It wasn't about the people they were working with. They were trying to cover their ass. And now the story, well, because of the news cycle, that story will get buried. And it'll be about how they didn't want to win or how they didn't like the way they're booked. Let's not forget, it was about the way they were being booked, not about hurting somebody. And WWE came out and says they told us they were uncomfortable working with them. Again, they lied.
Yeah, no, and that was, the news we had initially coming on Monday. So once you peel back a few more layers of the onion, the story kind of comes to the surface. More. There you go.
All right, let's move on and let's talk about Google. What? On a wrestling show? Yes, let's talk about Google. Matthew, did you see this yesterday on Google?
I did. I didn't click on it until later in the day, but
the doodle that's always above where you see the word Google, it's always clickable. It looked like it could have been Iron Sheik's father.
Yeah.
I mean, because it was a big, burly-chested, mustachioed gentleman that had those things that like Sheiky Baby has. Those little training things. We've seen Uncle Al train with those too a couple times. Well, that man is the Great Gama, celebrating his 144th birth anniversary. He was known as Gama Pelwan, or otherwise known as Gul Muhammad Bakish But, I mean, go back into history, go click on him, research him. He remained undefeated through decades of his career. This man was, he was Iranian, and he was Indian, not Iranian. He was from India, but probably one of the baddest MFers in the early days.
So what really stuck out to me there, and I think from here on out, I'm not going to refer to myself as having a birthday. I'm going to call it my birth anniversary.
There was a time where this gentleman lifted a stone that weighed 1,200 kilograms in 1902 when he was in his 20s. That stone is now on display at the Baroda Museum. It took 25 people and a machine to move it, but this man lifted that stone. Again, the legends and fables, they can be exaggerated a little bit, but you know what? I'm pretty sure that this dude was still a legit MFer.
So it takes 25 people in a machine, and he did it by himself. I don't know if he's actually was conceived on this earth, man. We might need to kind of look at that DNA and kind of look back at
it's kind of like the story about Kim Jong-un shooting an 18. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
that's everybody knows that's true.
Yeah, those kind of stories are whatever.
Well, I mean, didn't Rodman probably learn some golf from Jordan, so Rodman probably helped his golf game.
Fair enough. Hey, let's jump into Smackdown. The match actually happened, Matthew. I speculated, I hypothesized that it wasn't going to really go off, but it did. The tag team unification happened, and we have a winner. Let's talk about Smackdown from Friday night. First off, I want to talk about RK Bro. It's been bugging me. It's been like an earwig in my ear. Every time I hear a riddle saying 420 means I just smoked your ass, that's not original. And I've been trying to find where it came from. Found it. Type it into Google, or click on the Google Doodle, if you will.
Wait a minute. Was the guy that was on the guy that we were just talking about who celebrated his birth anniversary? No. Was it him?
No, that's probably why he lived all that years. But no, I did a quick Google search without putting RK Bro in there. I just typed in 420 says I smoked your ass. Guess what results I get? RVD came up with that, or at least he sells T-shirts with that.
Yep. No, that does sound familiar, and so it's
unoriginal.
But you know what? I think there's a few similarities between Riddle and RVD.
And they've been on screen before too.
Doesn't surprise me.
When RVD was getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, they did have an on-screen crossing. So,
well, there you go. Yeah, so it's imitation's the greatest form of flattery or something.
Sometimes, but let's talk about it. Really, the matches that happened throughout the night didn't have anything to do with the unification match. Sami Zayn and Shinsuke Nakamura, seen it before. Good wrestling match. It was a wrestling match, all right? Happy Talk, the nefarious Happy Corbin, basking in the actions of executing a vicious attack last week that left the Madcap Moss on a cervical contusion. You had Gunther defeating Drew Gulak. Ricochet stopped Gunther's post-match onslaught on Gulak. And then you had Shotzi and Raquel Rodriguez. Raquel Rodriguez getting a very simple win over Shotzi. You also had King Woods with Butch one-on-one. And then finally, the Usos defeat RK Bro to become the undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions. Matthew, are you shocked that the match went through? Or are you shocked with the result?
I was in the same camp as you. You might say you and I went to camp together. I didn't think we were going to get a clean finish here. Yeah, and I was a little bit delayed watching Smackdown, and so I had kind of gotten wind of some stuff that went on, and not the exact finish, but I'm thinking, okay, something screwy happened at the end. There's no way that this was a clean finish, but we actually have unified tag team champions right now in the Usos.
I was worried that RK Bros team member Riddle, the Matthew Thomas's Matthew to watch in 2021, might need an emergency medical technician. So, we were hoping that he wasn't going to have to take a ride with Bell on the side. So he made it. Yep. And the winners and new unified, almost said Raw, almost said SmackDown, but unified tag team champions, the Usos. Now, Matthew, you have both teams, correct?
Mm-hmm.
How many points did you win for them winning the belts?
Nothing, but I didn't lose any points for anybody losing a belt. So there'll be plenty more of them to go around.
Okay. Because it did not happen on pay-per-view, you will not win any points.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. I think, I see big things continuing for the Usos. I see them holding those titles until at least WrestleMania. I mean, I think you're going to WrestleMania with Roman with title in hand. And I think the same thing's happening for the Usos. I think RK Bro, what really has happened with RK Bro, when the team first formed, I think we pretty much unanimously thought it was a vehicle to further establish Riddle. And it has been, but my goodness, Meathead, I think Randy Orton is more over as a babyface than he's ever been in his career. What has happened there has been a resurgence and a pining in the fans for Randy Orton. Randy Orton's going to be, when they do go their separate ways, I think Orton is a shoe-in for, top tier title contention.
Let's talk AEW Rampage. This one aired at 7 Eastern, 6 Central. Again, closer to the normal start time, but still, the sun was up while the damn show was on. So I'm used to watching my wrestling with the lights down. You know what I mean?
Well, you do a lot of stuff with the lights down.
I wear my sunglasses at night. All right, let's talk about the show. And the first match, again, AEW Rampage, they start off with, hey, welcome to the show. Ding, ding, ding. No entrances. They're right there. The only entrances that they literally will pop off on Rampage is, it's all about that Boom or CM Punk. That's the only ones that go. Seriously.
Or Hook every now and then.
They won't start a show with Hook's entrance.
I like his entrance.
I love his entrance. All right, trios match. The House of Black, Brody King, Buddy Matthews, and Malachi Black taking on the trio of Fuego del Sol and the Dark Order's Evil Uno and 10. If you thought that the Dark Order and Fuego del Sol were getting this win, you weren't paying attention. Brody King with the big move at the end gets them the win. Now, on the stage was the Death Triangle and a cemetery headstone with the House of Black on it. Yep. That's all I got for it. I don't hate it. I just okay.
Yeah, this is going to set us up for a match for the pay-per-view.
Yep. I did like Penta El Cerro Mieto's gloves. Did you see that he had his words going across his fingers?
You know what? I did not pick up on that, but the cemetery, man, I wonder, they do have a QVC connection. Is that potentially something left over from a Halloween sale at QVC?
Possibly. We'll have to talk to Alex on that one. Mm-hmm. Okay, the chairman, Sean Spears, was going to take on a giant. He said he's going to take on a giant to prove that he can beat up Wardlow when it comes to this Wednesday. That giant ended up being Big Damo. Matthew, you remember Big Damo?
Yeah, and I remember that immaculate body hair.
Jericho, the first thing, look at that sweater he's wearing. Oh, they used to give Albert a bunch of crap about that too. Remember when Albert tried to come back as Tensai?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he had the Japanese writing on his face, but it didn't stay on, and that it wore off as fast as the gimmick did.
What's so interesting, you look at, that was a time of repackaged gimmicks. That was Tensai was about the same time period as Brodus Clay premiered.
Yeah,
Early 2012. I think you were having, going back and looking at it, now that we're a decade removed, the Tensai run was really, really interesting. I thought they had something there for a while. He was booked super, super strong. I think he even got a match with Cena relatively quick, if memory serves me correctly.
Yeah, they kind of hotshotted guys. Remember, because not only did Cena, take on the guys that they were trying to build up. Remember, they gave that to Umaga as well. Umaga got the quick match. Umaga ended up tearing down the ring ropes.
Yeah, Royal Rumble 07, I believe.
Yep, and that is when the ropes came down. I think that's Edge's original cash-in, isn't it? At the end of the match.
Oh yeah, I think
because he came out. Vince McMahon came out and then introduced Edge and said, "Boom, it's cash-in time."
Or you know what? That might have been a year earlier at it wasn't Rumble. It was whatever was it, New Year's Revolution or something.
Possibly.
I think it was the first pay-per-view of 06 that actually was prior to the Rumble, and it was after an Elimination Chamber, I think.
Yeah, Tensai, 2012 for Tensai, by the way.
And going back, that era too, you look at Sheamus's initial push when he took the belt off of Cena. I think it was in a tables match, if I'm not mistaken, in like 2010. So yeah, you had a lot of people during that era. You had a lot of kind of people ascending up the top of the card pretty quick.
Alex Riley was Tensai's first opponent, by the way. A-Rai. Yikes.
My goodness.
But Tensai did get wins over John Cena and WWE champion CM Punk as well. And then the Big Show was revealed as the muscle behind John Laurinaitis at Over the Limit. That the strong push given to Tensai right out of the gate had he evaporated. Womp, womp, womp. So, yeah, the rise and fall of Lord Tensai for Matt Bloom. Matt Bloom, by the way, not struggling anymore. Matt Bloom, head and trainer, I believe, at the Performance Center. All right, let's move on here and let's talk about Big Damo. Big Damo, formerly Killian Dane. And Big Damo, I saw Big Damo last week Sunday at Great Lakes Championship Wrestling and Control Your Narratives co-show.
Fantastic. Did you give him any tips for his match?
No, I didn't. And that sweater is real.
Well, fantastic. There you go. Did you tug on it like Santa's beard to make sure?
No. I didn't tug any man's hair. The chairman with an easy win. But Spears on the microphone. I told you all that I was Wardlow's kryptonite. 2 days ago, I left him in the ring, proving he's not Superman. Next week in the main event, Shawn Spears isn't going to be in the steel cage with Wardlow. No. Wardlow will be locked in the ring with the giant killer, Shawn Spears. All this is a build up to show Wardlow go right through Shawn Spears.
Yep. Now that we are Wednesday's coming up, the go home show to the pay-per-view. So
yeah, another match got added to the pay-per-view card coming up this Sunday as well. The Bucks on the Cutler Cam invite the Hardys to a super kick party. The Young Bucks, the Hardys on pay-per-view.
This could potentially steal the show.
Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament quarterfinal match. Chris Statlander, who got forced into the tournament, versus Red Velvet with the baddies sitting ringside. Ruby Soho on commentary. And Chris Statlander advances, but when they start beating on Statlander, here came Ruby Soho down to the ring to save her, even though that's her next opponent.
Yeah, definitely. I like the fact that you got continued a storyline with the baddies. I think it's a very, very effective stable, and I like the fact that we're getting consistent TV time for them. Did
you see the training montage that they put on Hookhausen and then Tony Nese and Mark Sterling?
I did. I quite enjoyed it.
It's Apparently, apparently Danhausen doesn't really train. He just dangles.
I mean, that's it. Depending on what your style is, man. You got to train for your style.
All right. Promo time in the ring. Scorpio Sky out to demand the return of his TNT championship along with American top teams Dan Lambert and All Ego Ethan Page. I struggle with this one because the lines are not clear for me.
Yeah.
Okay, on who I'm supposed to cheer for, who I should cheer against. I know who I personally want to cheer for. I want to cheer for Scorpio Sky.
Yeah.
I don't want to cheer for Ethan Page and Dan Lambert.
Yeah.
I want to cheer against Sammy Guevara and Ty Conte.
Yeah, no, it's danger here. The last thing you want is to just have fans go indifferent because they really don't like anybody. AEW, they are no stranger to going away from a babyface heel narrative, but you run the potential, like if you do have 6 people in a ring where everybody dislikes everybody, then you run into Lesnar and Goldberg at WrestleMania 20.
Well, the belt got destroyed by a hammer.
Mm-hmm.
Frankie Kazarian and Sammy Guevara finish off the belt, breaking it into pieces with the sledgehammer. There was 2 belts running around anyway, so it didn't matter. Dan had one in his display case. Again, the whole double belt thing, just obnoxious. I don't like it. Backstage, Cargill announced that she's going to defend her championship against Anna Jay at Double or Nothing. So, hey, I was made fun of when I picked up Jade Cargill and the Baddies because Jade Cargill wasn't going to defend her TBS championship. Well, look at who's defending her TBS championship on a pay-per-view.
Yeah. Look at you, and your foreshadowed genius.
The main event was the Blackpool Combat Club, American Dragon Bryan Danielson and John Moxley taking on Dante Martin, Matt Sydal. Here's what I took away from this match before we get to the end. Dude, Dante Martin had to have at least 6 seconds of hang time. That dude went up, held himself in the air, and then dropped down. Jericho's comment was perfect. That's like Jordan era 88 with the hang time.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Dante Martin.
He's talented, no question about it. That is a young talent right there.
We see the guys like, for example, Montez Ford from the Street Profits. He can get up and do the high one, but he's always, moving up or moving down. Dante Martin looked like he stalled in midair, like he stopped. Yeah. I watch this guy anytime he's making a move because unbelievable. And he's paired when his brother Darius is out. He is paired with the right guy in Evan Bourne / Matt Sydal.
Yeah, no doubt. They do complement each other really well together. I think they're still trying to find kind of the right packaging of them. They got a little bit closer on Friday night, I think, with the peace, love, and pro wrestling versus the Blackpool Combat Club and their style of violence. So I liked that story that we got Friday.
All right, so we got a win out of the Blackpool Combat Club. Obviously, I said this last Friday. There was talks that Danielson got stuck between the ramp and the ring. We saw a little bit of it finally on air Friday night, and there was a huge beatdown at the end. Both teams are going at each other. Nice little pull apart. I love this to finish the night. We're out of time. We gotta go. If Shivani would have been there, that's what he would have said, because then he would have told us to watch it on Thunder next week. But because that was the Nitro thing, dude. They did that all the time. Where Shivani's like, "We gotta go. We're out of time. Tune in to Thunder."
Or to watch, or to watch the conclusion that takes place during Robin Hood.
Right, exactly. So, or Sting's movie, where he doesn't have paint on.
Yeah, you know what? Speaking of movies, me and Linda on one of the shows a couple of weeks ago, we are petitioning for a remake of Santa with Muscles. So
that was the part I edited out. So you guys add that.
Oh my goodness! The audience got robbed. So we need to do some funding for that.
All right. Well, this part's not going to air anymore either. So just kidding. All right. So Rampage went off the air on Friday night with a nice pull apart. I loved it. Danielson seems to be okay, even though he got stuck. I can't stand that damn ramp. I think it's terrible. It's got to go, but that's just my opinion. So Matthew, we're going to get a lot of you this week. I think we'll get in Linda somewhere. We'll fit Linda somewhere in this week. She's out doing some work. She's out living her life. I don't know. She's somewhere on the West Coast, East Coast. I don't know where she is right now, but she's out there living the dream.
Absolutely. So yeah, we got a couple of weeks we had a Linda centric week and a Matthew centric week this week. So
I got to tell you, I love our team because I mean there
there's
was weeks where it was Matthew and Linda, and Meathead had to go off and do whatever he was doing. So
and then we've got those law shows with Johnny, you know. So shout out to Johnny. We don't know what happened to him, but
all right. Well, little Jimmy might be joining us sometime, and then if we've got $20, we can get the combo with Virgil. So
oh yeah, that's a deal, man. Like, you know what? As much as you're seeing prices go up and everything, the fact that Virgil's prices are not necessarily reflective of inflation. But you know what? I should probably tweet him, and let him know that things cost a little bit more now, so he might need to ratchet those prices up. I'll see how that
at
goes.
least match Jimmy Hart's price. So
Yeah, exactly.
all right. For Linda K, for Matthew Thomas, I'm the man we call Meathead. Hey, thanks for stopping by. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow morning. So long, everyone.